today, and I hate cats. The reason for this is because around a couple years ago now, remember, I was at Columbia Mall with an old friend named Larry. Now, around this time, me and Larry, we weren't talking as much. We kind of had like a random separation. And for some reason, we didn't know why. So we hooked up at a random time and decided to hang out with each other for a little reunion, a little get together. And while we're at the mall, we decided to get chocolate milkshakes. And I'm gonna tell you, these chocolate milkshakes were good. So around the time we get the chocolate milkshakes, it's time for us to go. And while I'm in the car with his mom, heading back to his place, my stomach starts to hurt real bad. And I'm twisting and turning inside the car, just fighting for my life to stay up, to make sure that they don't see that my stomach is feeling bad. I'm now finding out I'm lactose intolerant. So, as I continue to fight for my life in the back of the car, I'm trying to act as if, everything's fine. No worries. And it takes us about, I'd say 20 minutes to get back to his house. Now, I've already been to his house. I know the perimeter, front and back, up and down, in and out, etc. So, as soon as his mom opens the door, I start dashing, not laughing, dashing straight to the bathroom. I shut the door shut before anyone can say a word. Now, I'm in the bathroom, letting loose, going crazy, toes curled, fighting for my life. So, as another 15 minutes go by, I realize that I caused World War II, III, IV, 1000 on this toilet. So, I turn to my my right, and there's no toilet paper, no Charmin Ultra Soft, nothing. So, I'm scared. I've never been put in this predicament before. I don't know how I'm gonna get out, because I don't want to go out into the house with a poopy butt. So, I start looking, scouring, searching for alternative options. I look at my shirt. It's a pretty nice shirt. Got it last week. I was willing to sacrifice this shirt so I could avoid the poopy butt. So, as I'm thinking, I look to my left. There on the sink, staring at me, was a cat. Now, this cat was cute, little white brown fellow, real adorable. So, I'm now stuck with two alternatives. One, be the hero of the story, and you sacrifice my shirt so I can walk out this bathroom peacefully, even though it still stinks. So, or I can be the villain of the story and sacrifice the cat to make sure that I don't have to risk my shirt or my personal belongings. Now, calm down. I chose the right choice, all right? Now the cat smells like shit. And the reason he smells like that is because it wasn't even intended. I kept thinking to myself, what am I doing? It's a cat, come on. So I decided to pet the cat, to say I'm sorry. But the cat rebels for no odd reason. I didn't even do anything. He attacks my hand as I try to pet him. And he starts losing his mind. And you know me, I don't like getting attacked. Not one bit. So I start getting angry. And I grab the cat. He's scratching me, but I don't care. Use him in one fell swoop. And I do it again just to spite him. Now he's eating a different candy for Halloween. And as I finish. I look at the cat and I put him in the bathtub because I didn't know where else to put him. So I leave the crime scene and I go up to my friend Larry. And he gets on the game. I get on the game with him. We start playing Minecraft. So about an hour goes by, and his mom is furious. His mom is wondering why the cat is now darker than he already was. And my reasoning for this, honestly, I think this is one of the only times I really told the truth, because I was really mad on how he attacked me when I didn't even mean any harm at the time. And, she is even more furious because this is like I haven't talked to them in a while, so I'm now coming back and this is what I do? Yes, this is what I do. And my friend Larry is even more confused because he's like over here like looking at me like, bro, are you serious right now, bro? Like we had toilet paper under the sink. Oh, well, you should have put the cat there too. So now apparently I'm banned from their household. In fact, I can't even go in their neighborhood from a 1 mile radius. And since I'm apparently the villain for me defending myself from assault, I am now a dog person. I feel that they are the best pet and cats suck. The end. I almost forgot the host. And I want you guys to give a beautiful welcome to the firstborn twin, Deja. Where is she? Technical difficulties, everybody.
Yes, I had to look cute for y'all, but it came at a price, obviously. Alright. People seem to always wonder why I don't celebrate Halloween. This is the story of why. So, October 31st of 2019, the Halloween right before the pandemic. I had gotten home from school, it was like maybe 4 or 5 in the evening. And my dad is like, so, what are your plans? He seems to always ask me this, like I'm supposed to be out here like partying and stuff. I'm like, you know me, I stay in my room all day. But yeah, so he asked me, what are your plans? And I'm like, the only thing I had in mind was to sit at home, watch a scary movie, maybe something, I don't know, and eat some buttery popcorn. So he was like, well, why don't you just invite Ashanti over and y'all figure it out? And I'm like, that's a bright idea. I haven't seen her in a little bit. So I text her. Of course, she's like, yeah, I'm over there. And of course, I knew she was going to bring her sister Aaliyah. I just love both of them, honestly, and I just love her whole family. So they come over. It's maybe about 6, so like an hour later. And we have to sit at home and wait because Aaliyah's phone is already on like 5% and the night has not even started. So we wait and wait for her phone to charge. We're just catching up, making little TikTok videos. Ashanti brought over this fat cat mask. And so we were just making a bunch of funny videos. And my dad was just going around the house trying to find like flashlights and stuff. Because for some odd reason, all the neighborhood lights were off. All of them. I'm not even exaggerating, there was no lights. So another hour passes by. It's probably like 7 at this time. And we're like, okay, we're ready. We got our flashlights. Let's go. We weren't planning to really do anything but walk around in the dark. That was it. Just for laughs. So we walk outside, and before I even get to the bottom of the steps, all I hear is ksh. And I like caught back because something has caught me, and I look at my purse that I've never worn before. It was a gift from my great aunt. It's caught up in the railing of the stairs, and it ripped. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I have to walk back in. I placed the purse like right on the foyer. It's right when you walk in. And I'm like, it's nothing I can do now. Let's head back out. So this time we make it off the steps, but something happens before we even make it out the driveway. Aaliyah's, she had a prop. It was a rose, and then there was a skull head around it. It falls out of her hand somehow, goes under the car, and it breaks apart. And of course, I went under there and I got it. And I'm like, what's going on? So this is a part that I missed somewhere in the night. But I didn't think it was that important. So back when we were waiting for her phone to charge, Aaliyah, being the quirky, weird person that she is, she brings up something about 3 bad omens. And at this time, I was like a very spiritual person. I was into crystals. I taught myself how to read tarot cards and things like that. So I'm kind of like, ooh, that's weird, but I don't know if I believe in it. So she's like, oh yeah, the 3 bad omens. I have a scar from last Halloween. 3 bad things happened, and then all this stuff happened after. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, but whatever. So I'm already like, 2 things have happened already. What else could go wrong? So we finally start walking into the neighborhood, into the dark abyss of the neighborhood. And we go, hey, why don't we go to this certain road in the neighborhood called Waterfowl Way? It's a street that kind of connects all of the neighborhood together. And once you get to that road, you can really explore and go anywhere without really getting lost. Because I live in Perrywood. I don't know if y'all are familiar, but it's a big neighborhood. It's very big. It's like a forest. So, so we start walking to the road, and we look, and it literally just looks like a dark hole of nothing. Like, it looks like a void, and I'm like, that's weird, it's dark. Let's go the other way, let's circle back around, and try and get to the road another way. So we're walking in an opposite direction, and now we're towards the front of the neighborhood. So we get to this corner, it's like a corner with a stop sign. It used to be my bus stop. And this stop sign connects you to a sidewalk that basically leads right into Waterfowl Way. And we're like, cool, easy, simple, let's get to where we need to go. As we're walking up this sidewalk, a black mass, it was like 20, 30 people, it was like a cult or something. I only say this because they were dressed in all black. Every single person was black. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, what? So we all stopped dead in our tracks because we're trying to figure out who these people are. I didn't even know this many people was in the neighborhood. I was confused. I'm like, what? Like, did the whole neighborhood come together to pull a prank? What's going on? And then in the silence of us just sitting there, we hear just cackling. And it's like, oh, hell no. I rebuke this. So we circle back around, go to the house. Other things happened that night, but I feel like we were just being paranoid at this point. Because at this point, the 3 bad omens have already taken place. So I'm like, let's take a step back. So this is where things get interesting. My birthday is a week or 2 after Halloween, November 12th. That year, that was the last time I had seen my grandfather before he had a massive stroke. And I hadn't seen him a year or so after that because he was in the hospital. They moved him to a nursing home, and then obviously it was COVID. So I just thought, like, that's so very interesting that after being told about the 3 bad omens and then them happening and this happening, this is crazy. And then fast forward a little bit, my family also finds out that my great aunt who gave me the purse had hid her breast cancer diagnosis from us, and she had got diagnosed back in November. We didn't know until December. So, but through COVID, I kind of did build a faith in Jesus Christ because that whole thing with my family just put into perspective for me. Yeah. But that's why I don't celebrate Halloween anymore. It's not just a holiday, it's kind of a curse.
Yeah, I've known Deja for a short while. You can't take her nowhere. So, but speaking of Deja, our next storyteller is her other half, Naya.
My love for singing started at this one audition. So I was about 6 or 7, and my grandma, she had signed me and Deja up for this audition to sing the national anthem at the Big Stop Stadium. So at this point, I hadn't really done any auditions, was 6 years old. I haven't auditioned for anything. And so we get to the audition, you do what you do, you know, you sign in, get your number, wait, and right before I go on, Deja backs out. So now, this is the first time I'm doing something on my own. So, you know, at that moment, just kind of like something, you know, came over me, the anxiety went away, and I did what I had to do, sang the song, and then we left. So when we left, this lady stopped me, and she was like, "Was that you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "You sounded like Beyonce." And even though she was probably just being nice because I was 6 or 7, I still internalized it like, wow, like she saw something I did, and I just internalized like singing now became a passion. It wasn't just something I did on my own, you know, because I was interested in it, became a passion. So anyways, fast forward, middle school, and at this point I had, you know, been through bullying, so I was like very reserved, very to myself, didn't really have any friends. And it was like the end of 8th grade, and field day was coming up. Now at my school, it was like an arts charter school, so it was K through 8. So you know, elementary had field day, we had field day, and I want to say like the night before field day, I had this dream, and in this dream, I saw a version of myself that was more confident, and so I wrote a song about it. And so the next day at field day, I decided to share it with the class. I still remember it. When I look up at the sky, I see a blue light, a blue light that makes me smile, and there's no overshadowed by clouds. See, I've never been so jealous of a blue light caught the sky, and I know that I wanna shine. And so I sang that. And so I sang that, and like the response I got was like something I had never gotten before. Like, you know, I was the quiet kid, I was the unpopular twin, so the response I gave was like mad respect. Like before I was, you know, what's the word, like underestimated, and then now it's like, wow, you wrote that, and they saw me as like something else, they saw me as a creative, and I just, at that point, not only did singing become a passion, but songwriting became a passion because now I realized that I found my voice through lyrics. So, fast forward, high school's coming up, and we get into Duke Ellington School of the Arts, and when we went there, I went in for the instrumental department. So I kind of put singing on the back burner because once you go to Duke, whatever you choose to do, like that's what you choose to do. Like you spend more time at school than you do at home, and then when you get home, you're expected to practice. So since I was playing an instrument, there was no time to sing, there was no time to songwrite, and so it kind of got put on the back burner. And so then after that, the next year something happened in the family, and we went to another school, and then when I went to that school, you know, I got into theater, I ventured out of it since I kind of felt restricted at Duke. And so, you know, I got into theater, then I got into poetry, and then something else happened, and then went to another school, and that's when I joined the choir, and in the choir I got like a leadership position, so I was the alto section leader, and to me it was just kind of like, it reignited that passion again, because like now that I'm a leader, like now I have to bring something out of myself to like bring that passion onto others, and then through the poetry, I started my songwriting again. So, you know, I got back into that, and then fast forward, college is, no, I skipped. So the pandemic happened, so that was junior year, the pandemic happened, and during the pandemic, you know, I had some mental health issues, you know, I had got depression and things like that. And I kind of backed out of all my commitments. I stopped doing poetry. At that point, I was in the worship team at my youth ministry, and I had really backed out of a lot of things. And so I kind of had a lot of alone time. I was very isolated, but I'm really grateful for that time because at that time, I found Christ. I came into a faith, and through that time, it just gave meaning to my lyrics, because before when I wrote, it was kind of something for myself, but now it's like, okay, now through my music, I can minister to people. So it just gave even more meaning to my writing, and I really felt like during that time, I had that space to really hone in on what I love to do. So after that, college was coming around, and at that point, I didn't really want to go to college. I didn't really see a point, because if I want to pursue music, I felt that I didn't have to go to school for it. And so I spoke with my dad, and he was like, just go the business route. And so I was like, whatever, just wanted to please him. So I went to Salisbury for international business, and the first week, it was just all math classes. And I said, it's not giving. So I switched my major, and I switched to music tech. And the reason why I switched to music tech is because it's like, if I'm gonna go to school for music, I might as well learn something that I haven't, done before. So got into music tech, still had to take music theory. It was all math. Theory is literally just math. And so I enjoyed that. It made me realize I do really need this education, but the problem with Salisbury is it doesn't really have a big music community. All the money goes into the business. So I was like, I'm not really feeling this. And so I flunked my first semester. And I did better my second semester, but then finals we got COVID. And so, but anyways, so after that, during the summer, I had a lot of time to think. And I realized that it's the best decision to just come home, do some, community college classes, get back on track since I flunked the first semester. And I got back into all my activities and things, and it just made me realize that, even though my journey with music has been on and off, my love for it still continues to grow. So yeah.
Rihanna, Beethoven, all of High School Musical, got nothing on these two twins right here, I'm telling you. And speaking of those stars, I'm a straight guy, but this next guest, superstar. This next storyteller is a pretty handsome guy. So I want you all to give it a round of applause to Rap.
Thank you. If you have my back, I'll have yours. When I was 4, about hip height, me, my cousin, and my sister were over at my grandma's house. And on both sides of my grandma's house, they both had dogs. On the right was a junkyard, kind of like they like to sell cars. So every once in a while, they would jump over onto my grandma's lawn, and as soon as you saw them, you had to run. And on the left was a Native American family who also had dogs. And as soon as you saw dogs, you just knew you had to run. So me and my cousin and my sister playing in the backyard, I just see from the far glance of my eyes, this big Alaskan husky. And my first instinct is to just run. As I'm about to shoot off into the house, I just feel a yank on the back of my collar. And it pulls me in and says, if you run, I'm gonna let that dog bite you up. So then I just stand at attention. Next to there was my sister. And I just okay. The dog slowly gets walking. I can hear my little heart beating through my chest. And it comes in front of us. I'm just and it looks us up and down, and then it goes back around to the Native American family lawn. But I knew my sister had my back, and I always have her. When I was 7, it was a field day, and my family went to this school, and my family worked at this school. So on this field day, the grades 12 through kindergarten all went out. Not 12 through kindergarten, 8 through kindergarten, all went out. And we would just play moon bounce, kickball. I decided to play with a jumbo frisbee. Maybe this 3rd grader was having a bad day, but he decided to come over, push me down, and take the jumbo frisbee. My cousin didn't like that. They came over, yanked him by the collar, and said, "Don't touch my cousin." A chaperone saw that and said, "Jesse, go to your grandma." She didn't get in trouble that day, but she had my back. When I was in 10th grade, it was a soccer game, and we were going back and forth, and one of the opposing team decided to clip me up. I go falling, tumbling. Coach comes over, you okay? I said, I'm good. But he's like, just in case, you can sit out. You can sit on the side a little bit. I don't like getting sit outside the game. My teammate saw that, so he decided to go clip up the teammate that guess clip me up and get the goal. I'm over there like, yeah, we got him, boys. We still didn't win the game, but I knew he had my back. The following year in 11th grade, an associate of mine, after this incident, then turned friend, decided to get into a fight. And in high school, you know when there's a fight, you gotta go see it, especially if you know the person. So we go off grounds, go near a McDonald's, and we go see the fight. I guess somebody thought one of his friends were gonna jump in, so their friends decided to jump in. They started to jump him. They stopped. He was walking away, but he was limping. I decided to go help him, but then they chased him. We got into the McDonald's and they left him alone. As soon as we get in the McDonald's, a random guy comes over to us and says, I saw the whole thing. You want my gun in the car? I'm just like, no thank you. Security decides to come over to see what happened. And while he's telling the story, I'm like, okay, he's good. I decided to go outside with my other friend. While I'm talking to him, telling him everything that happened, all I hear is, beside him was his brother, and they decided to punch him. I was just like, oh. I thought that was supposed to be me. I'm the one that gets helping get away from them. They take his shoes, throw him into the street, and then they get to walk away. After that, we started becoming more friends, and he knew if anything got sticky, I had his back and he had mine. So,
I just want to mention, great story, especially on how the dog even has your back. That's why I think dogs are better as well. So, for our next storyteller, might cause some eye water to come out, but I want you all to give another big round of applause to Yasmin.
Cuando inicié el viaje de Guatemala a los Estados Unidos, sabía que no iba a ser un camino fácil, lleno de obstáculos, pero que al final valdría la pena. En mi mente imaginaba que los Estados Unidos eran como las películas de Cohort. Pero en verdad la realidad era muy distinta. Cuando mi mamá me dijo cómo era la vida aquí, acá, mi pensamiento cambió drásticamente. Yo estaba muy feliz porque iba a volver a verla después de mucho tiempo. Pero a la misma vez estaba muy triste porque dejaba a mis abuelos y a mis dos hermanos, y eso me partía el corazón. Sabía que no era una decisión, que era una decisión más difícil que podía tomar, pero sentía mucha curiosidad y mucha emoción por volverla a ver. Cuando llegué a los Estados Unidos y vi a mi mamá después de 10 años, ella se veía tan hermosa y lo único que quería era abrazarla. Cuando tomé su mano, sentí una emoción única, como que si algo se hubiera conectado dentro de mí. No pude aguantar las ganas y empecé a llorar de la emoción de estar con ella. Para mí ese momento fue único y será un recuerdo que jamás olvidaré. I'm sorry. Único. Y será un recuerdo que jamás olvidaré. No podía pensar en nada más que estar con ella, porque finalmente mi sueño de estar junto a mi mamá se hizo realidad. Después de todo esto, yo sabía que no iba a ser, que iniciaba una nueva vida, una nueva etapa, porque estaba con mi mamá, mi papá y mis hermanas. Sabía que no iba a ser fácil, porque tenía que adaptarme a un nuevo estilo de vida. Muchas cosas para mí cambiaron, cosas a las cuales yo no estaba acostumbrada, pero sabía que era cuestión de tiempo para acostumbrarme, para adaptarme a mi nueva vida. Al principio pensaba que todo era un sueño y cada mañana que la veía, a toda mi familia reunida, me sentía muy feliz. Aprendí a querer y amar a mis padres y a mis hermanas como mi nueva familia. Y desde ese momento soy tan feliz que creo que fue la mejor decisión que pude haber tomado.
I'm gonna be in the bathroom after that. If anyone wants to join me, you're free willing to. So, for our next storyteller, I would like you all to give a nice round of applause to Ashley.
It's 2015 and I'm 10 years old. My sister comes home with blue eyeshadow on, and it looks so good on her. And she also has these earrings on and a dress. And I'm just like, where did she come from? Because she never ever dresses like that. And I asked my dad, and he tells me that she came from a performance. And I'm just like, but where? I keep asking all these questions because I'm like, I want to look like her. Like, where did she come from? And I come to find out that she just came from the performance that she had with the Joe Summer Camp. And I was like, oh my God, I want to go there. Like, I want to look like that. So I did. And the makeup was done by the director of the show, which was Miss Jessica. And I was like, I want to go there. So I did. And the following summer I went. And being in the summer camp, it was really fun, honestly. Like, I learned a lot. And I grew a passion for dance. We did a lot of activities there. We did art, we danced. They took us to the pool every Tuesday and Thursday, so that was fun. And as I mentioned, Miss Jessica was in charge of the performance, so she was teaching this one dance class where she partnered me up with, obviously the tallest one in the class, because at the time I was the tallest girl there, so, and that happens to be Christian, who's in the audience right now. But, at the time we were strangers, so I was like, okay, cool, he's my partner. And we're gonna learn how to dance bachata. And ever since then, we started hanging out and we got to know each other. And, you know, obviously my siblings came with me, and so did my cousin, and his sister did. So we were just like all a big family here. And we just had a lot of fun. And that happened for like 3 more summer camps until we got too old to come. So, you know, just had to say goodbye to Joe's for now. And me and Christian, we just went our separate ways because it's what happened, you know. I mean, it's kind of my fault because I ghosted him. I just cut all communication with him for a couple years. And there's no specific reason as to why. Just maybe it's because, you know, I wanted to fit in. I was like, oh, I don't know if the cool kids, the bad ones at school, but like me being friends with anyone else. I was like, you know, I just did everything to fit in. So obviously I'm past that, you know. My 15 came, I turned 15, and my parents planned a party for me, a quinceañera. And obviously, as I mentioned, I love to dance, so I was looking for guys to be in my court. And Christian came to mind because I knew how to dance. So I was like, you know, I'll text him, see what he says. I hope he doesn't hate me after all this time. And he agreed. So our parents met up, and he agreed to be part of my court. So, you know, after seeing him, after a very long time, I apologized. I said, like, I'm sorry for ghosting you. He forgave me, thankfully. And ever since then, we've been friends. Like, we've spent like every single moment together. And he's always been there for me. He's like a big brother to me, always making sure I don't go the wrong path. And I'm very grateful for that. And I think that here in Joe's, you can meet, you know, friends that last a lifetime.
Yeah, I agree with that last sentence, but that Christian guy just sounds so familiar for some reason. I have no idea why. He might randomly pop up, who knows. But speaking of popping up, on this stage right now, I want everyone to pay attention to this motivational speech given by my boy Mark.
So, I used to be a chubby kid when I was younger. My parents and my family told me one thing before going to elementary school, that there will be people who want to bring you down and that you need to not pay attention to them. Well, I did that. All during elementary school, I was being bullied, but I didn't let it affect me because I didn't want them to win because I hate losing. And then I went to middle school. That's when that mentality I had of not letting them affect me started to dissipate because it's starting to get more personal, more rampant, and I couldn't deal with it correctly at that time because I didn't want to express myself out of fear. So I just became more silent, reserved, and overall depressed because I would just go home sad, and the only thing that would cheer me up during that time would be eating. So my parents just saw their kid just coming home sad, and the only time they see me happy was me eating. So the only thing they logically came to was, if you give him food, he'll be happy, and that we're doing a good job. And then I go to high school. At that point, my mentality of not letting them affect me dissipated. It was gone. A new mentality came through. It was anger. Just anger at myself, at people at school, and just at my weight. Because every time I would go to school, I'd be worrying about what are going to make fun of me. Is it going to be my weight, or is it just going to be who I am? So at that time, anger just decided to completely control me. I just lost myself. I remember I got into fights like 2 times during that time. First one was this one kid kept on pestering me over my weight and poking me, prodding me, seeing if I would just do anything. So I did do something. I told him to meet up at this one place behind the school, behind the gym, and that we could settle our differences there, like men. So we did. He showed up, I showed up. We exchanged some words, and we went at it. I remember just tackling him and punching his face. And then he gave up. And he never talked to me once, he never looked at me, and then this reputation of me being a fighter went around school. So I had to walk around knowing that these people know that I'm fat and that I'm easily angered. And then 10th grade goes around, once again, this other kid decides to poke and prod me to see if I'm still angry. Turns out I still am, because I never truly got over it, because I just kept on being quiet and just letting the anger just fester inside me. So then he does the same thing as the last kid, pester me, try to antagonize me, and he did. So this time, I didn't fight with honor, I just fought. We met up at the same place at the same time behind the gym, and I didn't even let him speak. I just remember tackling him, punching him, choking him, and just holding him there for a while. And then I just remember being tugged away. It was my friends tugging me away from the kid because apparently I was holding him for choking him out for too long, and he was crying out for help. And I just realized I gotta stop. This anger it's affecting me too much. I need to stop. I need to change. And the pandemic hit, and then I didn't do anything to do with my anger, so it just kept on building and building. I just remember throwing my phone. I just broke down. I just threw my phone at the wall, caused a dent, just made a mess. And then a couple of days later, I go to the hospital to get a daily checkup, and then the doctor said, I'll be honest with you, you have pre-diabetes, and that you're wasting its time before you get diabetes 1, type 1, type 2. I knew what diabetes was because my grandparents also had it. I didn't want to go through the same deal as them. So at that time, I tried to do things alone, which really didn't work out because you can't do these things alone. You always need someone to help you. So I tried fasting and exercising, which was hurting my body. So I didn't want to do it anymore because I was always tired. I was always unmotivated. So I stopped and had a serious conversation with my parents. And I was like, you gotta help me. I know I have not asked you for help as much as I wanted to, but please help me now. And they did. They stopped giving me food that was unhealthy. They started helping me with giving me food that was healthy, like green vegetables and more portions, and motivating me to do exercise to become better. And then I used what was left of my anger that I accumulated over the years to reuse it into becoming a better person. 3 months go by, I lost 30 pounds, I was happy, and then another month go by, I lose 20 pounds, and now I lost 80, and my target is 120, so that I can be healthy. I'm no longer pre-diabetic, I'm now healthy, happy, and energetic, and more confident in my life and how my life is going to be.
I respect it. Now, unlike Morrow, I need to lose some pounds on myself too. I like shrimp. So, but ignoring that, we have another story that I believe is going to send most of you guys sky high. So I want you all to give another round of applause. Come on, I know you can do it, for Angel.
Todo comenzó el 21 de julio, 9 de la tarde, cuando estaba entre uno. Era el último entreno, de que era uno de los torneos más importantes que hay en Pensilvania. Justamente estaba terminando de hacer warm. Cabe aclarar que soy portero. Y justamente por ser uno de los últimos entrenamientos, estábamos aprendiendo detalles. Pues empezamos a entrenar con tiros al arco. Y pues uno de los primeros tiros iba a una esquina de la portería. Y pues obviamente me lancé. Caí con mi hombro derecho. El cual caí con todo mi peso. En el impacto sentí un jalón, que supuse que había sido un tirón de un músculo. Los médicos del equipo me hicieron una revisión y pues me dijeron que no pintaba nada bien. Y me mandaron de emergencia al hospital. Con el cual ellos están asociados para que me atendieran de emergencia. Pues me hice una radiografía y los médicos del hospital me dicen que me tienen malas noticias de cada torneo. Pues me dan la noticia de que tuve una fractura en la clavícula y pues que el especialista me podía ver el lunes 25, 3 días después del accidente. Y pues me dijeron de que nomás no le diera un movimiento porque podía empeorar. El lunes pues asistí a la cita con el especialista y pues me dice que tengo 2 opciones. Una es dejar que el hueso se acomodara como él quisiera y otra es operarme poniéndome un platino y 3 tornillos. Pues con la operación iba a ser más rápida, pero que a todo esto se iban a poner en contacto con el equipo por los gastos médicos y para saber si era un jugador estatal. Pues después de todo me llaman al siguiente día martes 26, y me dicen que el siguiente día era mi operación. O sea, el miércoles 27 sería la operación. Justamente ayer cumplí 3 meses de la operación y pues también ayer fue mi última revisión donde me darían de alta. Pero bueno, la operación pues se complicó un poco, pues ya que tengo problemas con el sistema respiratorio. Pues todo salió bien. La operación empezó a las 7 y salió a las 11:30 del quirófano. El mismo día me dieron de alta y pues ahora ya estoy en tratamiento para volver a jugar. Ya empezó mi rehabilitación para que todo esté bien para el próximo año, ya que el próximo año tengo las pruebas con la selección de Guatemala, la sub-19. Pero espero este año poder volver a jugar para poder regresar a uno de mis mejores momentos.
Now, Angel, you're way more humble than me because I would have been pissed, honestly. But, ignoring me, we have another storyteller, which I'm even interested in hearing their story. Give another round of applause to Lick.
Esto pasó en noviembre del 2007 en San Miguelito, Honduras. Estaban haciendo una feria patronal en honor a San Miguel Arcángel. Los coordinadores de la feria estaban en busca de candidatas para ser las floristas del reinado, por lo que mi mamá me preguntó si quería participar y yo acepté. Yo tenía 6 años y estaba muy emocionada de poder participar en este reinado. Yo era una de las floristas y la otra era mi amiga Brigitte. Las dos estaban muy alegres de poder participar y por lo que siempre practicábamos en su casa. Recuerdo que nuestros vestidos eran blancos con muchos brillos, unos zapatos plateados. Las dos estábamos alegres y pues esta era mi primera vez participando en un reinado, nunca lo había hecho antes. Y y era enfrente de muchas personas. Se llegó el día del reinado y mi amiga Bill se enfermó, por lo cual ella no podría participar y tendría que hacerlo sola. Yo no quería porque me daba mucha pena hacerlo enfrente de tantas personas. Se llegó la noche y el reinado aún no comenzaba, por lo que yo ya no quería participar, ya que tenía mucho sueño. El reinado vino comenzando como a las 8:30 de la noche y era mi turno de pasar tirando las flores por la calle para que pudiera pasar la reina en la feria. Toda la gente me quedaba viendo con sus celulares, grabando y esperando a que lo hiciera, pero me entraron los nervios y no lo hice y empecé a llorar enfrente de todos. Por lo que mi mamá me fue a agarrar de la mano, me limpió mis lágrimas y me decía que lo hiciera rápido y así poder ir a dormirme. Pero yo no lo hice, lo único que hice fue llorar. Entonces ella tuvo que agarrar la canasta con flores e irlas tirando por la calle para que pudiera pasar la reina. Yo iba a la parte de ella llorando enfrente de todos por toda la calle. Y recuerdo que la gente me quedaba viendo raro esperando a que yo tirara las flores. Y pues yo no quise, lo único, yo iba llorando por la calle diciendo que ya me quería ir a dormir. Que al final mi mamá fue la que terminó desfilando ella sola. Ahora que estoy grande, es gracioso recordarlo, pero al mismo tiempo me da mucha vergüenza porque algunas personas todavía se acuerdan y tienen fotos y pues...
I would like to pass the mic to a good friend of mine and someone who is named after one of my favorite cars. Please give it up for Hondo.
All right, so I'm really grateful to my parents for sticking by me throughout my life and really helping me to get over issues that I've had and faced. During my school years, that was probably my most challenging time. Being really skinny and being like the smallest person in my class in terms of skinniness, and just kind of feeling pretty hopeless. I think that it kind of evolved over time. It started out all right, and as I got older, it became more and more of an issue. And I think that it just got to the point where I had to be pulled out. The atmosphere of school was like how a lot of schools are set up. There's the cool kids, there's this group, there's that group, and there's the ones that are out, kind of outcast group. And I pretty much fit in the outcast group. And there were a couple people in there that were like bullies, and there were other people who were like, kind of was a mixed group of bullies and cool kids. And then there was another group that I wouldn't necessarily call bullies, but they were pretty cool to me. And what I really admired most about this group was how they were able to draw really well, and I could not draw very well. Of course, that's changed now, but at the time I couldn't draw very well. Any good drawing I had, it was traced, and I wasn't proud about that. The bullies, there was Manuel. He was like a short, stocky kind of guy, but at the time he was a little bit taller than me. I think like somewhere, like about an inch. It was an inch difference. And then there was Homero, and then there was another Manuel. I never really talked to him or interacted with him. Except for one incident where he was walking out the bathroom. I was going into the bathroom, and he, in one move, he just grabbed me and lifted me up the wall and by my neck. And I was like, at that moment, I was like, that was probably the most helpless I've ever felt. And it really impacted me throughout school after that, kind of like, feeling like I couldn't do much against people. And so I was going I finished 5th grade, and I was going on to 6th grade, and I decided that, my parents decided that it was going to get too dangerous going to the next school over the way that I was going, because I was really basically just lying about what was happening at school and how I was feeling and what I was doing. And I was playing one personality at home and one personality at school to try to keep like images at school for being what I thought was cool, and at home for looking like everything was okay. And eventually, my parents and the principal of my school decided that it was going to be too dangerous for me to move to the next school because the way that I was going, it was going to be like I'll either get hurt really badly or I'd be killed. Like that's as bad as it would be. So they said they were going to pull me out and homeschool me. And I started homeschooling. That was on 6th grade. So I started homeschooling from then all the way till like the pandemic, which is 2020. And they really, my parents really taught me a lot about knowing yourself, what you want, why do you want it, and what makes you do the things that you do, and just really understanding yourself really deeply. And even though it was a hard transition and I still had a lot of issues, still was, lying and not being fully honest and not really kind of accepting the lessons, even though I knew they were good for me. It eventually got to the point where they stuck with me this whole time, and I've been able to improve in a lot of areas and get a lot better. And if they hadn't decided to pull me out and stick with me that whole time, then I don't think I would be where I am right now, or even here, probably. So thank you.
I'm gonna tell my mom I love her, probably tomorrow. That was a real good story. All right, so our next guest is, hold on. He's actually real? Is that Christian? Christian. Oh.
I feel alone. It's 2014 and my 6th grade year in Montreal Elementary has just ended. I'll be going to middle school soon and I'm not looking forward to it, but that's not the worst of things. My best friend just moved. Backing up a bit to 4th grade in the same school, we were in the first week of the school year, and right away I made friends with this one girl named Julia. Nothing impressive. We're just kids. It's too easy. However, we throughout the next 2 short feeling years, Julia and I would become very close, as close as 2 kids can be in elementary school, and then forwarding back to 6th grade, we were in the roughly second to last week of the year, and that's when Julia breaks the news in my heart that she is moving. They're going to be moving, and us being children, I knew that meant we would not be seeing each other anymore. So we, of course, spent as much time as we could. Then the last day of school comes, and our teachers decided to have a free day. 6th grade had, the way the grades work there is there's 2 classes per grade. So in 6th grade, 2 teachers, and both classes were right next to each other with the bathroom splitting the 2. You can go through the bathroom to get to each class. And the way our teachers did free day was one classroom was a movie room, and then the other classroom was just for hanging out. Of course, Julia and I, as well as mutuals, her friend Madeline and my friend Kevin, we spent the whole day just hanging out. Of course, me and Julia spending as much time as we could, since we knew that would be our last time. all I can think about, however, is how she will be gone soon. And what I'm also thinking about is how to say goodbye to her. Of course, when I think most people, when we're young, we try to plan and calculate everything. So that's what I was doing with my goodbye. It was hard, but of course it was a little difficult because we were just trying to spend time. Then dismissal comes. I think I have everything ready to say goodbye, and then she's gone by the time I'm ready to say it. My best guess as to what happened is the way dismissal works is bus riders are called first, then Joes, because it's right there, they're partnered, and then walkers are last. Julia was a bus rider, I was a walker, because I live very close. And I assumed she had to leave like as soon as they called, so that's why she was gone. I didn't see her. So then, as I'm leaving the school, defeated, the buses have not left yet, surprisingly. And the first bus is right in front of the main exit. And as I'm about to walk away, it seems like the buses are about to leave. But then suddenly the doors open, I'm confused. I see Julia coming out, she's rushing towards me, and then she's hugging me. We're surrounded by, of course it's dismissal, so we're surrounded by people, but of course she doesn't care, I don't care. Not much was said, except for the two teachers that were right next to us. Of course they saw that and they hit us with the "oh," and yeah, Julia did not say anything. I think the only thing that was said was on my part, something along the lines of how she's gonna make me cry, but that was it. And then she gets on the bus and that's it. At the time, there was an app called Kick that we used, rarely used to talk, but, and I also used that because I also used that to talk with Madeline, who I mentioned earlier, a mutual friend between me and Julia. Maybe like a month after this happened, so a month into summer, is when Madeline tells me that Julia's going to be coming over in the area to watch a movie with her. It was Hunger Games Mockingjay. And I wanted to use that to see her again, surprise her if I could. So I only talked through Madeline to set that up. I go, my mom drops me off. I'm a little late, so the movie's already starting. I get in the theater, I'm looking for them the best I could, and then when I do find them, I'm at the end of the aisle and I'm about to walk down to the aisle. But Julia's already up, coming towards me, and again, she's hugging me. Her mom surprisingly got up for me so that I could sit next to Julia, and then we watched the movie. It was hard for me to focus, of course, but we watched the movie, it ends, we talk as much as we could because they had to go, and then after that, that was the last time I'd seen her, and it did take a toll on me, especially being younger and having a friend like that early. It was hard, but of course as I grew, I learned that not everyone is going to stick around, and that is okay. And throughout this whole ordeal, I actually met someone who filled that hole per se, and she was just up here. Her name is Ashley, and yeah, I don't feel alone anymore.
I realized a lot of you guys were mature for kids, because when I was in 6th grade, I was sexist, honestly. Like, ew, girls, cooties. But speaking of a girl, feminine creature, we have one coming up on the stage right now who's gotten surprisingly tall due to those high heels. But please give another welcoming clap to Gabby. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna take it out because I feel comfortable like this. Okay. So my story is gonna be about how coming to the USA for me was a heartbreak. I say that it was a heartbreak because when I was in my country, I used to, like, you can imagine, my family was over there, so obviously you're gonna be like, oh, you were living with your family. No, that was not my case. My family was over there, yes, but I did not live with them. I lived with my auntie and some cousins of mine, which one of them, I grew up with her like my twin because we were the same age. And when I came here, that's when my heartbreak came in because I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave behind my twin, my other part. And I'm a person that hates crying, mostly in front of people. And I cried through that whole airplane ride, those 4 hours. I cried. I told my parents, like, leave me here. I don't want to be here. Like, I don't want to leave. Like, I just want to stay here. I don't want to go. Obviously, that's not the case because I am here. And, well, I had to travel. Where we first landed was in Florida, and we stood there for some months. The first month, I had to start school, obviously. And to the school I used to go to, they only spoke English and French, which was not a language I knew, either one or two. So I went to school, like the first days, and I didn't like it. And obviously, I am a very outgoing person normally, but during those days I wasn't. I turned so antisocial, I didn't want to speak to anyone. I didn't want nothing to do with the world. And for a month, I pretended that I was sick because I didn't want to go to school. And then my father found out that I was pretending to be sick, so I was sent back to school. And okay, I was like, whatever, what can I do, right? And then after that, I used to be marked absent, but I was going to school. The reason I was marked absent was because I go by my middle name, which is Gabby, but my first name is Telma. And here, when I got here, they have a tendency of putting an H to my name, so they make it sound like it's Thelma or something around those lines. When obviously I didn't know the language, I didn't know they added an H to my name, so I was always absent. So we moved again. This time we came to Montgomery County. Obviously, I had already had a first experience at a school. I didn't want to go to school again. And I mean, obviously I have to go, right? But I was like, nah, I don't want to go, but I ended up going. It only lasted for like a week because some paperwork got messed up. So we moved again to Hightsville, and I started going to Cool Spring Elementary School. In that school, things changed a little bit because I had an aunt there, and that works in the school. I still do. And the school was different, but in my head, I thought it was gonna be the same again, and there's not gonna be anyone that speaks Spanish or anything, and I'm not gonna know anything. I'm always gonna be absent, but no, that wasn't the case. And so I went to school. It actually turned out to be better than my experiences before. So I started actually kind of liking going to school, but I still didn't feel comfortable. I never told anything to my parents because, as I said, I didn't feel like it was my family, because I felt like my family was back home. And I always kept everything to myself. at least this time so I wasn't absent anymore because I was able to go by my middle name. And when they used to take the road, they say, my name Gabby. So I was like, I'm here. And then I was at least present, but I still didn't understand anything. And I still didn't want to talk to anyone. I just wanted to be by myself. And this one afternoon, my parents were in the kitchen, and my sister was sitting down speaking to her boyfriend in El Salvador. I was just there, sitting in the couch, looking at them. And I was just there, sitting, and just like I was looking around. And I guess in this moment, since I only had myself to like speak to, and I started thinking. And I was like, it seems like everybody moved on perfectly fine. But I'm still holding on to something, and I still don't feel good. I'm still missing my family. I'm still missing my home. I want to go back and blah, 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 blah. But I had to admit it, that wasn't my reality. It's not like I could just say like, yeah, I'm gonna book a flight, I'm gonna go back. Nah. So, that's when I realized, and I put myself and I was like, you have to do something, you have to change something because clearly you're not going anywhere. So, I did actually. I started to read books. I started to writing. I told my cousins like, hey, like, tell me sentences so I can write them, so I can learn how to pronounce them, and if I say them wrong, correct me so I can learn. Gratefully, it helped. I did. In 6 months, I already knew how to speak the language. Obviously not perfectly, but I was there. I was able to understand when people used to speak to me. So that was something good. And well, I started doing good in school, and everything was going all right until this day. I think I'm doing pretty good in school. And by that, I had to learn eventually, even though I still miss my home, I still miss my twin. I've learned how to appreciate the opportunities this country had offered me and still has to offer. Thank you.
Very interesting story. Very interesting story. I would have never took initiative at all to learn a new language, honestly. That's just me. But speaking of Gabby being on here, our next person to come up, wink wink, is Autumn.
Traveling for me and my family was very interesting. When y'all hear traveling, y'all may be thinking, oh, traveling, you know, having fun, going to the beach. Well, nah, not that type of traveling. I mean, the immigrant traveling, you know, where you play hide and seek with the border patrols. You never play that? Just try it. It's really fun. Well, yeah, I come from El Salvador. For safety reasons, me and my family had to travel to the United States. In order to come to the United States, we had to pay this guy that was very expensive. And my mom had to sell one of her best properties that she had in which property she used to cultivate coffee plants. Our first journey started in El Salvador. We had to travel the whole country because we live on the other side. So we had to travel all the way to the other side in bus. We traveled in bus, we got there, we sleep in the border, and then next day we had to walk for like more than an hour crossing the border of Guatemala until we got to a town. When we got to the town, we got in a bus. And then we got into another bus, and then another bus. Well, we were just traveling in buses until we got to the capital. A day passed, and we got into another bus. This one was better though. Every time the bus was improving somehow. It This time was better. Anyways, we got to the border of Guatemala and Mexico. They told us we had to wait like 3 days for more people to come, which was a lie. Those 5 days turned into like 15 days. I got very sick, and the reason was mosquitoes. I am very allergic to mosquitoes, and I guess I got traumatized from that because now I see a mosquito and I just imagine them biting me. In that place, mosquitoes, they run the place. It was their block, like it was their neighborhood. Because this house was placed in the river. So it was kind of a big problem for me to stay there and sleep without getting bit by mosquitoes. I got very sick and I almost got killed. With my mom's house, she found some medicine that got me back up because I was not eating at all. And I got to the point where I was so skinny I didn't have no strength in my body. But she found some medicine and I got back up. After 15 days happens, a lot of people got into the house and it was more than 150 people. So all the people that had to move it downriver. So they put us in this motorboats. We had to go downriver and for like 3 hours. Yeah, we went downriver for like 3 hours. The sun was very bad. I was very thirsty. Then we got to this place. They put us down. We had to walk like for 30 minutes in pure jungle. It was very nice because, well, nature is beautiful. And so we walked for 30 minutes. Then we got to this small town. In this small town, there was some people that, they were very nice, but they didn't speak Spanish. We were in Mexico side already. I was like, are you sure we're in Mexico? I wish we're not in India or something like that. 'Cause they didn't speak Spanish. So I was so confused. And these people were giving out corn, which corn is for Hispanic is really good. And so they didn't give me anything. I just asked for what I asked my mom for water. She gave me some water, but they didn't give me corn. I'm like, I want some corn. I'm hungry too. So I walked to them. I was just standing. Hello. They started speaking to me in that language. I was like, I don't know what to say. Yeah, I want some corn. Just give me some corn. I just want some corn. I told them in Spanish. They understood me because I was pointing. Give me some corn. But so yeah, after that, they moved us in pickup trucks. We traveled a lot in pickup trucks, actually, in buses, whole Mexico. Then we got to a certain point where they had to put us in a box truck, where it was not that big, but we were a lot of people, so it was kind of hard. That was a really bad experience because since there was a lot of people, we could barely breathe. Everyone was just crushing each other. People was fainting, vomiting, and it was horrible. A few hours passed by, I can say 5 hours we lasted in that truck until they stopped us. We didn't know what was happening, but it was the Gulf Cartel. They had caught us because it was their territory already. It was like desert territory. So we were there. They separated. They put us down. They got us out of the truck, and they separated man, woman, and children. They were gonna kill the man, and they're gonna take children and women, but they didn't because the guys had to pay so they can let us free. A miracle happened. That's not a miracle. These people, after they got paid, they were rewarding us. So they were getting our back, something miracle, money. But they guided us all the way to the river, to the Rio Grande River, to the side of Mexico. Then in some floaters, we crossed it. We walked for like 30 minutes, I think. And well, we wanted to Border Patrol to caught us, but they didn't. I'm like, are we in USA? No one's coming? Okay. So we just kept walking, and until I was so thirsty. And there was this, it was like a little lake, and I wanted to drink the water so bad. But my mom told me, no, you're gonna get sick. I always used to listen to my mom. I still do. But yeah, I didn't drink the water. Then finally, some Border Patrol of United States came and, well, they caught us. So that's my story. I passed immigration, and I'm here talking to y'all.
I really respect your story, especially the part where like you playing hide and go seek with border control, because you know my father used to play tag with the police in the middle of the road in his car. We were always it. So, but you guys like action movies, right? You know, stuff like Friday, Rush Hour, Coco Melon, The Matrix, you know, stuff like that, right? So I want you guys to listen to our main character here, tell her story. So give it up. I don't care if your hands are hurting. Give it up to Taisha.
Florida is one of a kind, and Florida party like no other. And there's no better way to bring the new year in than with the New Year's Eve party. So this was January 1st, this year actually. I had no New Year's resolutions. The only thing on my mind was getting cute for this party. The party was thrown by Isaiah God. He was like one of the most handsomest boys in school, the most popular. And then he just happened to be a 17-year-old club promoter. So everyone knew Isaiah parties was always going to be like the best party, so everybody has to come. So everybody was talking about this. So the night before, I asked my mom, can I go to my friend Destiny's house? And she's like, sure. So Destiny, she's about 5'10". She's like kind of like me, but she's like real skinny. And then we with our friend Kalia, and Kalia, she's like the short, chubby, but she's like the lit friend. Then we have another friend, Shantoya. She's like in the middle of me and Kalia, and she's a lit friend too. She's like gonna get the party going. So we're at Destiny house, and Destiny has like one of those family homes. So like at Destiny house, you have the little kids running around. You have her grandma, you have her grandma friends, you got her mom, you got like just everybody. So we're at Destiny house, and we're telling literally everybody in the house about Isaiah's party. You gotta be there. We even have the 5-year-old kids excited about the party tonight. So we get to the point where it's almost time to go. It's not even time to go yet. It's like, what, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and we're getting ready. So I'm doing hair, my other friends are doing nails, and Destiny, she's waxing. When I'm talking about we're getting ready, we're getting ready. So, like I said, we're telling everybody about this party. So we tell Cheeseburger, which is Destiny's cousin. We call him Cheeseburger because we say he's not cool. So Cheeseburger, he was like, can I come to the party, please? He's like, we guess you can come to the party since everyone's gonna be there. So we're like real excited. So now it's time to go. It's like 9 o'clock, the party's gonna start. And we leave a little late so you don't look too like excited, but we were excited. But we leave late, and by the time we get there, the line is like so long. But we are so determined to get into Isaiah's party tonight. So we wait in this long line. And as we're waiting, one of our extra friends, Kajalia, she comes up, and she's one of those feisty friends. But she's one of those girls who talks but cannot back it up. So all she does is talk mess. So as soon as she comes up, it's like the cheerleader rivals are behind us, and she starts talking junk. I'm like, girl, please don't do that, because I do not want to fight. You cannot fight. We're here to have a good time. So as soon as we get in the party, it's a bring your own everything. So y'all know what that means. The party is like smoke. As soon as you walk in there, it's like just everything. It's a good party though. Good music, good jams, everybody dancing, got like just all types of dancing in there. And it was just like a good moment. And at one moment they had played like the wrong song, and this song got like the crowd drunk. So it's like the thugs, and in their corner they got upset because the song is called "Who Wants Smoke," and all they repeat is "Who wants smoke with me? Who wants smoke with me?" So they start going crazy, and then 5 dudes they start ganging up on one man, and it was just like boom, 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 boom. And then the one man, he was sticking with the 5 men, but then they like snatched his chain. It was like real crazy. But as all this is going on, like 500 people was trying to go out of one door like that. So it was like everybody is running, and I managed to get out because I got to save myself. But my friend, she stayed in, but we're gonna talk about her later. So as I'm running out, I'm looking for Destiny. Destiny, that's like my little sister, even though that's my friend. So I'm like, oh my God, where is Destiny? So me and Destiny running, and then we just bump into each other. I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? What's going on? Blah, blah, this and that. She's like, yeah, I'm okay, blah, blah, blah. Are you okay? It was so cute. I was like, oh my goodness. But as we go outside, it's like gunshots. And it's like they're shooting up the whole building, and the police station is literally 10 feet away. No police are there. So they're just shooting up the building. It's like going crazy. So me and Destiny, well, we rode with Shantoya, but Shantoya was stuck inside of the building at the moment. So me and Destiny, we just started running or whatever. So on the side of the building, it's like a little railing, I guess, and you can like lay there flat. So that's what me and Destiny was trying to do. But it was like the gunshots was getting closer. It was like so many people, so we just started running. And when we started running, we got behind the plaza, and we were in like some apartments, like square apartments. And like I said, my other friend Shantoya, she was still in the building. And as she was in the building, she was like right behind me, but I ran out like I told y'all. But as she was trying to run out, somebody like jumped in front of her, put a gun to her head, and was like, "You are not getting out of here." So some superhero Batman dude, he like slides over. He's like, "Well, you're not gonna shoot her," and she just runs. So now by then, me and Destiny, we don't know where we are. We are just running for our lives. I have on like some white Air Forces. Destiny let me borrow her shoes. I'm looking real cute at the party. It was just so crazy. But right now I'm running like for my life. And me and Destiny, we like stopped at one moment because I don't know what happened, but we were like tired. We were tired, so we stopped to get our breath. And some man, he started chasing us. He's like, "Get out my yard, get out my yard." He probably think we the shooters. We is not the shooters. We trying to run ourselves. So he's like, "Get out my yard." He started chasing us. Me and Destiny running. And Destiny, she's like a track star. She beats like the school records and everything. But for some reason, my track friend was running slower than me. So I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm like, this is like some scary movie stuff. And then Destiny, she like slips and she like, she falls. So like she splits her leg open, like blood running down. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then we stop again, same thing happened. So more people started chasing us. This time I gotta take off the shoes. I'm like, Destiny, you'll get them back later. Took off the shoes, we were running. And then as we're running, Shantoya, she calls us because finally she's in the car. And she's like, "Where are you guys? Blah, blah, this and that." But she like has no data. And our other friend's phone is dead. Like, why do you not have data in 2022? But she didn't have no data, so she couldn't use her maps. All she could do was call. We don't know where we at, so it was like real crazy. But, yep, we managed to leave, and like I said, Shantoya, she ended up coming to get us. And we forgot all about Cheeseburger. We forgot we even invited her. So as we're leaving, it's like so many cars just trying to go. And we realized like, where is Cheeseburger? So Destiny texts Cheeseburger, and Cheeseburger's like, "Oh, I just hopped in the car with these people I don't even know." I'm like, what? But Cheeseburger, he had a good time. He ended up taking like a good photo shoot, real nice pictures with the strangers. And he got home, we got home, we were safe, and this has now messed up my young adulthood because I will no longer go to any more parties.
I told y'all she was the main character. She kind of reminded me of G.I. Jane, but that's for later. But speaking of another main character in this scenario, some of the similar but different, I would like you guys to introduce our last, yes, I know y'all sad, but our last storyteller, Indigo.
This year was a have changed for me. If you'd asked anyone before now, they likely would have told you that I am a scaredy cat. I couldn't go down a slide, I couldn't ride a bike, being on a swing, absolutely not. And if any situation was outside of my comfort zone, I was like your perfect embodiment of anxiety and stress. I did not like this about myself, and I wanted to change it. However, what I didn't have was the commitment to actually make that happen, at least not at first. So I kind of meandered along, like maybe now I'll do something about it, or maybe then I'll do something about it. Not really, I wasn't putting in much effort. And eventually I realized I had to do something. I couldn't just, keep saying I was, but then not. So I decided I would set myself a time. It was actually a year, 2020, after my birthday. However, that didn't turn out to anything because obviously, pandemic. Literally, the lockdown happened 2 days after my birthday. So from March 7th to March 9th, and now everything's over. There's no opportunities coming, and I'm just like, I guess not. So it gets put on hold, and another year passes, and another year until this year. And I decided now this time I'm going to actually make this happen. Things are opening up again. I'm going to put myself out there. We're going to do this. So I signed up for SYEP, which is pretty much the state giving people jobs, and I was still waiting for the job to come through. However, they sent out emails, and the email that came for a job was Six Flags. So I thought to myself, this is a perfect opportunity. I'm going to get this job. So I put in my resume, get hired the same day. So I'm having all my hopes up. It's an amusement park. I've never been to it before. So I think it's going to be all this awesome stuff, and I'm going to visit there and work there at the same time. It wasn't like that. There are a lot of problems with the staff and stuff. And enough so that I think that's why they had a habit of making a lot of staff parties. Like every 2 weeks is another staff party. I eventually decided to go to one. In my mind, I had this idea, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna have the free food, and I'm gonna talk to some of my coworkers since we did talk previously. I get there, the free food is in like this large of a container. They gave you original Lay's chips, like they couldn't even bother to buy one of those, multi-flavored packs. It's just pretty much very meager meal, like I have to eat when I get home, and it's one thing in my mind. And as I'm looking around for the people, I see the people I've talked to before, but they've all got their own friends, and they're all going on these rides, and they're all talking to each other, and I don't want to be that kid who pops up next to somebody and goes, hey, do you remember me from when we had our shift yesterday? So I'm just like, that's not gonna happen. So I decided to take a walk. So I'm just gonna walk around, I'm looking at things. I'm admiring the scenery since I hadn't been in that section before. It was new to me, and now I'm sitting here and I think to myself when I'm walking, now is a good time to face one of my fears. I'm surrounded by roller coasters. One of my biggest fears is height and speed combined. And roller coasters, as we all know, are the perfect embodiment of that. So I started looking for worthy candidates. I'm auditioning them all for my own private show, I guess. And as I'm walking around and looking at them, I'm like, I think, should I go big with a bang? So I walk over to see Superman. And with my anxiety, I look at it, it looks like a mountain to me. I do not want to go on this mountain. We're going to find something else. So I continue walking and looking at the Wonder Woman. I do not want to spun on the string in a circle while going up. So that's not it either. I look at the Harley Quinn thing, it's swinging back and forth and also spinning. Everything was spinning in that section of the park. I don't want to do that either. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should just go home. Put an end to this day. I had to meet your food and never coming to none of these parties again. This is over. But as I'm walking back, I make a 360. I start walking back in the direction of this path. I see to my right is the Joker. Now the Joker to me has like this medium height. It looks like something I can, go up there and, get on it. It looks like doable, So I'm still full of anxiety, but a bit hopeful. I go to find the steps and walk up the stairs. I look at the roller coaster itself and I think to myself, actually, I don't want to do this. The anxiety is overwhelming me and all this stuff. But as I turn around to go back, I play video games myself, and I realized let me make this into boss fights, like how boss fights are in games. Once you get into the place, you can't leave it. So I'm gonna treat it like the stairs are, out of bounds now. So now I have to go on this ride. So I go there, I sit down, I'm shaking, my breathing's coming hard, I'm like, I don't know what we're gonna do here. I'm locking myself into the ride, and it doesn't wear my beanie. And I don't wanna lose that, so I just kind of grab it and throw it off, because we're nearing the end of time. And I'm now just sitting here to myself, trapped and panicking. The ride operator sees me. He looks at me, he goes, don't worry about it, focus on the tunnel, and before you know it, it will be over. I'm gonna take this pearl of wisdom to heart, because I need something to calm me down right now. No, it was only a pearl. But the people at the front of the ride decided that they didn't want me to have even that. So they decided to say, don't lie to her. The ride's gonna do this, is that, it'll go upside down, it'll be fast, and did you know it's a motor roller coaster? I didn't even know any of that. So now they've left me even worse than I was before. And he's counting down already. So there's no time for me to say, wait, stop, get me out of here. No. So he goes 3, 2, does not say 1. He presses the button for 1. And off I go. I'm flying all around. I can barely breathe. But what I can do very well is scream. Because the way that, how in books they'll have this line, the screams got ripped out of her? Yes, that was me. The screams were being ripped out of me without my control. I opened my eyes once, and that's to see the ground very, very far below, not medium height. It looks like the mountain now up there. I'm scrunched in the corner, and I closed my eyes, and I did not open them for the rest of the ride. I only opened them when it starts slowing and going around. So you see now the adrenaline rush has a chance to come down some, and replacing the earlier terror and waiting game of death, quote unquote, 'cause I might die on this ride. I find other emotions get a chance to come into play, and those two are being relief and accomplishment, because I had done this by myself. There was no mom to force me on it. There was no brother telling me I should do it. There's no friend daring me to go on there. I chose to do this myself. I set up a plan, and I've seen it through. I would never, ever want to go on that thing again. However, to me, that ability to do this by myself was the most liberating feeling ever.
Perfect. Chef's kiss story. My only question is, you were writing the Joker, but why were you so serious? I'm corny, I know. But sadly, there are no more stories. So to all my guests that don't work with me, I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope, you got to see your kid up here, that's my side. Yeah, I hope you got to have one of those moments, and there are no refunds, so.
Why should the shadow